Today's story opens in the middle of a scorching, desolate desert, where a small, isolated house stands completely alone. This is where a young man named Ben lives with his girlfriend. Ben works as a tourist guide, leading visitors through the vast and dangerous desert that attracts adventure seekers from all over. But Ben's girlfriend is ready to leave. She wants to move to the city so she can continue her education, and she asks Ben to come with her. Ben refuses without hesitation. He loves the peace and quiet of this remote place, and his entire life and career are rooted here. Before she leaves, Ben hands her a pistol and says, "Promise me one thing. Every night before you go to sleep, keep this under your pillow for your safety." Smiling, she promises that she will. Then she heads off to the city, leaving Ben all alone. After she's gone, the loneliness starts to hit him, and he can't stop thinking about her. A short time later, the sheriff from a nearby town calls Ben over. He tells him that a wealthy businessman named Maddock, who has flown in from Los Angeles, is looking for an experienced guide. Maddock wants to hunt the rare desert bighorn sheep, an animal that's incredibly difficult to track down in this unforgiving wilderness. Because of Ben's reputation, Maddock wants to hire him, and he's willing to pay $8,000 for just one day. For Ben, that's an unbelievable amount of money. No one has ever offered him that much before, so he quickly agrees to take the job. When Ben meets Maddock, he notices the expensive hunting gear and the group that has come with him. Hunting is completely legal in this area, but only for people carrying licensed firearms. The two of them head deep into the most dangerous part of the desert, where the hunt is supposed to begin. By the time they arrive, the sun has already disappeared behind the horizon, and darkness has taken over. They build a campfire and spend the evening talking. Ben tells Maddock about his girlfriend, who has recently moved away to the city. Then the conversation turns much more personal. Ben reveals that when he was a child, he and his parents got stranded in this very desert after their vehicle broke down. They waited for days, hoping someone would come to rescue them, but no one ever did. Under the brutal desert sun, Ben's mother kept rubbing lipstick across his face over and over again. It sounds strange, but it helped protect his skin from the relentless heat and probably saved his life. His parents, however, weren't as fortunate. They eventually ran out of water, and Ben was forced to watch both of them slowly die of dehydration right in front of his eyes. As Ben finishes telling this heartbreaking story, he's visibly overwhelmed with emotion. Eventually, with nothing left to say, the two men settle in for the night and fall asleep beside the campfire. The next morning, as soon as the sun rises, the two head out on a hunting trip. Along the way, Maddock suddenly starts firing his rifle for no reason. Ben immediately realizes that the guy has absolutely no hunting experience. Frustrated, he asks, "Who even gave you a hunting license?" Maddock smugly replies, "I don't have one. I've got money, and that's all I need. People like me don't need licenses." Ben warns him that hunting with an unlicensed firearm is completely illegal. But before he can say anything else, Maddock casually pulls out a thick stack of cash and hands it to him. The money is enough to silence Ben, and the two continue deeper into the desert. Eventually, they climb to the top of a rocky cliff. Ben scans the area through his binoculars, searching for a game. But after waiting for a long time, he still can't spot anything. To make matters worse, Maddock keeps distracting him like an impatient child. Then, without any warning, Maddock suddenly fires a shot. Ben never told him to shoot. Both of them rush toward the direction of the gunfire, only to find an elderly man lying on the ground, bleeding heavily. He was a local prospector who spent his days searching for valuable minerals in the desert. Ben knows the old man well and immediately runs back to the truck to grab the first aid kit, hoping he can still save him. Meanwhile, Maddock panics. He realizes he's just committed a terrible crime. Desperate, he calls one of his associates and tells him everything. "I'm in serious trouble," he says. The man on the other end gives him a chilling piece of advice. "Shoot him again, but this time, use Ben's rifle instead of yours." Maddock follows that advice without hesitation. The second gunshot echoes across the desert. Hearing it, Ben sprints back and is horrified to discover that the old man now has 2 bullet wounds. Furious, he yells, "Why would you do that?" Maddox calmly smirks and says, "I didn't do it alone. You fired one shot, and I fired the other. Now we're both responsible for his death." Ben instantly understands what Maddox is doing. He's trying to protect himself by framing Ben as an accomplice. Maddox then sweetens the deal. He promises Ben $300,000 every year and even offers to pay for his university education so he can move to the city and live comfortably with his girlfriend. Thinking about the money and the future he's always dreamed of, Ben reluctantly agrees. Together, they bury the old man's body beneath the desert sand, say a brief prayer for his soul, and return to their truck. As if nothing had happened, Maddox casually wastes their precious drinking water by washing his face in the middle of the scorching desert. Ben isn't happy about any of this because finding water in this dry, unforgiving desert is almost impossible. Quietly, he sneaks back to the truck where his backpack is. Inside, he has a small emergency device that can send out a distress signal. But just as he's about to contact the sheriff, Maddox catches him from behind and immediately holds him at gunpoint. Furious, Maddox reminds him, "We had a deal. You promised you wouldn't tell anyone about this, but you betrayed me." Without hesitation, he crushes the emergency device under his boot, destroying Ben's only chance to call for help. Then, still aiming the gun at him, Maddox gives him a terrifying order. "Take off all your clothes." With no other choice if he wants to stay alive, Ben obeys. Maddox forces him to strip down, even taking his shoes, before coldly saying, "Now walk home, barefoot." Ben has no option but to start walking across the blazing desert. Maddox knows exactly what he's doing. There's no way Ben can survive this brutal heat without water. Sooner or later, the scorching sun and unbearable thirst will kill him. Once Ben is dead, the murder of the old man, Charlie, will be pinned entirely on him. After all, one of the bullets inside Charlie's body came from Ben's gun. The police will assume Ben killed Charlie, fled into the desert, and eventually died from heat and dehydration while trying to escape. Barefoot, Ben painfully pushes forward across the burning sand. After a while, he reaches a utility pole marked with a number and carefully memorizes it. From a distance, Maddox watches every move through his binoculars. He has no intention of leaving until he sees Ben die with his own eyes. Despite the unbearable pain, Ben keeps moving. When he finally reaches the second numbered pole, he suddenly sprints toward a rocky cliff and disappears from sight. Maddox notices it immediately and races over in his truck to the spot where Ben vanished. But when he arrives, Ben is nowhere to be seen. In reality, Ben has slipped into a hidden cave carved into the rocks. It's actually a secret survival bunker that belonged to Charlie, the same old man Maddox murdered. The bunker is fully stocked with food, water, and other supplies. Completely exhausted, Ben grabs a bottle of water and drinks desperately, finally easing his burning thirst. As he looks around, he notices dozens of old photographs hanging on the walls. One of them shows Charlie standing beside Ben. The truth is, Ben had known Charlie for years. Charlie was like a father to him. Overcome with guilt, Ben breaks down in tears. "I'm sorry. I couldn't save you." But before he can gather himself, he hears someone entering the cave. Thinking fast, Ben snatches a map hanging on the wall, hides it under his jacket, and silently slips into the darkness, waiting for whoever is about to walk in. By now, Maddox has caught up. He knows Ben is hiding somewhere nearby, so he plants a bomb and quickly walks away. Moments later, a massive explosion rips through the area, bringing the entire structure crashing down into rubble. But luck is finally on Ben's side. He manages to escape through another passage just before everything collapses. As he keeps moving, Maddox suddenly appears right in front of him. With a chilling smile, he says, "If you want to go home, then keep walking. But if you try to hide or run again, I'll put a bullet in you from a distance." Ben knows Maddox isn't bluffing. His rifle is highly advanced, and he can hit his target with deadly accuracy from hundreds of yards away. With no other choice, Ben is forced to continue his brutal journey across the scorching desert. The nearest town is still 45 miles away. Thankfully, Ben secretly kept the map he stole from Medic, and it's now his only hope of surviving. After walking for a while, he reaches the place where he and the old man, who has since died, once set up a couch to rest. Ben tears the foam out of the couch and straps it to his bare feet. The burning sand has ripped his feet apart, leaving them badly wounded and bleeding, and the makeshift padding is the only thing protecting him now. This spot is hidden from Medic's line of sight, giving Ben the perfect chance to disappear once again. The map claims to be a treasure map. Following its directions, Ben reaches a location marked with a large X. He digs into the ground with his bare hands and uncovers a small box. Inside, he finds a slingshot and a handful of marbles. He quickly pockets them, sensing they might come in handy later. The map also points to a second location. When Ben reaches it, he digs again and discovers a bottle of water buried beneath the sand. His body is severely dehydrated, and his throat feels completely dry. Desperate, he twists off the cap, ready to drink. But before a single drop reaches his lips, a bullet fired by Medic strikes the bottle from far away. It flies out of Ben's hands, and every last drop of water spills into the scorching sand. That's when the true meaning of the map becomes clear. It was called a treasure map because, in a merciless desert like this, nothing is more valuable than water. Ben probably understood that from the very beginning. Now, robbed of his only chance to rehydrate, he has no choice but to keep moving. Still thirsty, still fighting for his life. Meanwhile, Medic is shown relaxing in the distance, casually pouring himself a drink while never taking his eyes off Ben. After struggling through the heat for a little longer, Ben's body finally gives out. He collapses onto the sand, completely exhausted. Medic drives over to him and finds Ben lying motionless. To check whether he's dead or just unconscious, he fires 2 shots into the ground beside him, waiting to see if Ben reacts. Ben doesn't move at all, and the attacker is convinced he's dead. Thinking the job is finally done, he gets back into his truck and drives away. But what he doesn't realize is that Ben was only pretending to be dead. As soon as the coast is clear, Ben struggles to his feet and makes his way toward a cave hidden high on the cliffs, a place where he and his girlfriend used to spend time together. There's supposed to be a small water source inside, and with dehydration taking its toll, that's his only hope. As Ben climbs the rocky slope, Medic, who's talking to one of his partners on the phone, suddenly spots him alive. Furious that Ben survived, Medic immediately opens fire, unloading round after round. Somehow, Ben dodges the bullets and barely makes it inside the cave. But once he gets there, his luck runs out. The water is completely gone, leaving him exhausted and frustrated. Standing outside, Medic yells, "Give yourself up! There's no way you're getting away from me!" But Ben refuses to surrender. Instead, he waits for nightfall, hoping the darkness will give him a chance to escape. When night finally arrives, Medic keeps his truck's headlights aimed directly at the cave entrance. Taking advantage of a blind spot, Ben quietly slips out through another exit. He notices Medic relieving himself nearby and uses the distraction to sneak over to the truck and grab his jacket. In the wilderness, the nights are brutally cold, and without it, he won't survive. The moment Medic returns to the truck, he realizes Ben has been there. He quickly starts the engine and reverses at full speed. Ben is lying directly behind the vehicle but manages to dive behind a pile of rocks just in time. Medic then throws a deadly explosive toward him. Luckily, Ben still has his slingshot. He loads a marble, takes careful aim, and fires. The shot hits Medic square in the head, knocking him unconscious instantly. When Medic wakes up, he finds himself tied up in the back of the truck. It's already morning, and Ben is standing outside. Ben drives him straight to the sheriff's office, where he tells the entire truth. He explains how Medic brutally murdered his old friend Charlie, and even hands over the money Medic had paid him to keep quiet. With the evidence laid out, Medic's crimes are finally exposed. Ben confronts Medic one last time, venting all the anger he's been holding in. A few moments later, Medic asks to use the restroom. While he's gone, the loud roar of a helicopter suddenly echoes through the area. Ben rushes outside, only to see Maddox climbing into the helicopter and escaping right before their eyes. Using the smartwatch on his wrist, Maddox had secretly contacted his partner, who arrived just in time to rescue him. After surviving this horrifying ordeal, Ben decides he'll never work as a wilderness guide again. He returns to the city, reunites with his girlfriend, and tells her everything that happened. He promises her that he's done with that dangerous life for good and wants to stay by her side from now on. One night, while they're peacefully asleep, Ben has a terrifying nightmare. In the dream, Maddox is standing over him with a gun, ready to pull the trigger. Ben wakes up in a panic, only to realize it was just a dream. But as soon as he closes his eyes again, he hears Maddox's voice. This time, it's real. Maddox is actually standing in the room, gun in hand. Smirking, he says, "You got lucky last time, but now no one can save you." Just as he's about to pull the trigger, Ben's girlfriend fires first. The handgun Ben had given her was always hidden beneath her pillow, and she reacts without hesitation. Ben immediately grabs his own gun and joins in. Together, they shoot Maddox, ending his reign of terror once and for all. With Maddox finally dead, the nightmare is over, and Ben can finally move on with his life. And that's where today's story comes to an end. So, what did you think of this movie? Let me know in the comments.